Welcome, everyone, to the Wednesday Night Live show. We've got a lot to talk about today. Allison has two articles from Rutgers University. Is that is it called Rutgers Today? Is that their magazine, or is there two separate ones?
Let me double check. I have this
Yeah,
thing
you look
pulled
at
up.
that. Well, they're both from Rutgers University. Cristine Delnevo, I think I said it right.
Yep,
Appointed
that's
as
it.
the
Yeah,
new
Rutgers Today.
appointed as the new chairperson of the FDA Tobacco Product Scientific Advisory Committee. Jesus Christ, what a title that one is right
Mhm.
there. I don't know if I want to tell people what I do for a living if I have to say all that.
I work at Alphabet.
Yeah, as well as many physicians have misconceptions about e-cigarettes. I'll have both article links posted in the chat here soon. Mr. Tim up there has got the local. He doesn't have anything local. Tim's got the latest advocacy for the week.
Today in vaping news, there was a guy on the corner vaping strawberry.
You got to add the street.
Back to you, John, in the studio.
The street.
That's your local vaping news.
You got to add the cross street and everything. He was standing at the local 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
I think he was vaping a banana strawberry custard.
While turning into my neighborhood, I saw a guy drop a disposable on the ground. I chastised him and went on home. That's your vaping news, local vaping news.
Yeah, local vaping news from Timmy Swift. And joining us tonight, of course, all the way from Florida, our number one guest, Mr. Nick Orlando. But before we get into that in today's show, I got a quick video I like to play for our viewers. It's about 4 minutes long, and it's a message from me to everyone in our community. And I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then we'll get to the show, guys. Let me make sure I do this right. I need to get a few things off my chest before we jump into tonight's show. Also, I want to add that these opinions are my own and may not represent how my co-hosts feel. For about the last year, I've seen countless amounts of new disposables flooding the market. Some people want to blame China. I call bullshit on that. China does not manufacture anything without a buyer. That's how their system has always worked for years. Buyer plus quantity plus cash equals manufacturing. China doesn't care if there's a market for that specific item or not. They get their money up front and simply move on to the next product. So to me, what we're seeing is simply called good old-fashioned cash grabbing. These are e-liquid companies, distributors, buyers, investors that are flooding the market with cheap disposables, getting their cash and moving on to the next scheme or loophole. These are people with zero interest in saving this industry. Companies and individuals with zero interest in filling out a Pmta because they know as soon as their inventory is gone, so are they. We need to stop funding these companies and people and open your eyes and take a good look around and see who's fighting for the cause and support them. This product is no different than any other product that's out there in the marketplace today. Any product that is about to be banned or heavily regulated to the point where it is no longer affordable for the general public, two things happen. The first one happened very, very early in this industry, and that is the black market. When we started seeing bans and regulations in certain cities and states, we started seeing that black market being creative. And unfortunately, that is a very unsafe environment for a lot of us because, number one, you don't know the quality of the ingredients that are going in there. You don't know what ingredients are going in there, period. You're losing that safety net. You're losing that safety net you had at the vape shop and you had at the website where you knew you were buying a quality product. That's why we had the term many, many years ago, the bathtub juice. And that's what bathtub juice came from. There's from the streets. And then the second thing happens and that's where the market gets flooded by investors and people just trying to make a quick buck. And that's what we're seeing today. In the last year and a half, this is what you're seeing. You're seeing the market get flooded by investors, and some companies and some manufacturers are just flooding the market real quick and trying to get that quick dollar before regulations kick in. And these people are very smart. They know what they're doing because obviously they understand that state and local governments, your federal governments, the FDA, the CDC, all these agencies are so understaffed, so overworked that there is absolutely no way they can enforce any of these regulations. So by the time they figure out what's going on, these guys have made their money and they have moved on. So when it comes right down to it, guys, it's on you. It's on you on how you spend your money. And I think you need to do the same thing when you're going to buy your e-liquid tonight. When you make your next order, Think about it. Say to yourself, okay, this is my favorite juice. I've been ordering it for years. Is this company doing what is necessary to make sure 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, I'm going to be able to buy this e-liquid? Are they doing what is necessary to make sure that this product is going to be on the shelf for me next year? If not, don't invest in those people. Go look for another e-liquid, because these people are just trying to get their money and get the hell out. And they're not doing anything to save this industry. So look for those companies. Look for the companies that are doing that, filled out their PMTAs. Look for those companies that you see in articles fighting in court to save this community, save this industry. These are the people that we need to be investing in. That's all I got to say, guys. I'm sorry I took up the little bit of the beginning of the show. So the other John that I'm gonna flip to is going to say hellos and introduce the rest of the hosts. So peace out. Where's that button? All right, we're back. I'm sorry, I had to get that off. I'm just so tired of just hearing everyone bitching, complaining, and just seeing this flood of garbage devices out there. I went into a convenience store yesterday, and the disposables have taken over the cigarettes. There is no longer a cigarette display. This guy had a disposable display. And I mean, I've never even seen half of these. I have no idea who they belong to, where they came from. Neither does he. He's just buying them because he knows people are coming in and buying them. And I just feel like we're putting we're putting money in their pocket. And these are people that are just trying to grab that cash and get the hell out. And I have nothing against disposables. I have nothing against. I love disposable. I think there's a market for that, but I would really like to know who these people are, because they weren't around 6 months ago. They weren't around a year ago, and it just almost feels like the same thing is happening with every other product that goes through that situation, where it's either being regulated or black, something's happening to it. All of a sudden, you have these individuals that just got cash. They're dumping it into these things, and they're just getting their money and just getting the hell out. It just drives me nuts. So let's say hello to Mr. Tim up there. Tim, hello.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah. How's your week?
Well, this week is a interesting week for me. One door closes and another door opens. So,
Good door. Good door.
Well, such is life, right? When doors open, you sometimes have to walk in. And so I spent today closing the door on my most recent job, and then I get 4 days off, and then I fly to Virginia next week and start my next adventure with a brand new company and a fresh new start, and putting me kind of back into a position, into a job that I kind of wanted anyway when all the COVID mess hit and all that stuff. So, had a good experience with the last company, but it's time to move on and find some new adventures. So I'm tired. I'll just say that. It was a lot because, I was managing a small warehouse, but, you got to close loops with IT people. You got to close loops with management. You got to close loops with your staff. Just pack up.
Is this your last week, or today was your last day?
I'm done. Today was my last day at that company.
All right. I need to ask this question because I ask everybody that leaves a company for another company, did they have a cake for you?
No.
What the fuck?
Well, you know what? Look, I was only there about a year.
That's cake. That's cake.
That's long enough.
I mean, to be honest, I've never had like a exit, kind of shindig. However, I will add to that minus the cake, the lady that sat behind me for a year in the office right behind me, we developed we developed a really good friendship, and we hit, we had a good, work connection, and so we did lunch today, and that was so it was, we did she kind of joked around, she called it a picnic lunch, but she's like, this is going to be kind of like the picnic classroom lunch. So she just pulled up a chair to my desk, and it was covered in Checkers grease, and we laughed and talked about a bunch of shit. And then I, of course, sent my goodbye, farewell email to the rest of the company, letting people know where to route their emails and all that. And since we had already had our pleasantries and goodbyes and hugs and all that, so her response back to everybody was, "Bye, Tim!" exclamation. Bye, Tim.
Traitor.
So anyway, yeah. So at any rate,
Get out.
So
GTF.
I think minus the cake, it was just hectic. I had a lot
Tim,
going on.
Tim got the GTFO. Get the
Yeah, get the fuck
fuck
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
like that. Curtis, very funny. No watch. I don't know. Did they give a watch away for just 1 year of service?
I did get a commemorative clock on my 10th year from the
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
company, which ironically I'm going back to work with three of the people that I previously worked with in the company before. This is a new different company, but
Yeah.
the VP of Ops, the Director of Ops, and the head of the supervisor for customer service. So,
Well, good luck, Tim.
yep.
Yeah,
You got this.
congratulations.
You got this. And Allie's got
They're gonna
quite a
want their
story
clock
to
back.
share with her week.
Oh God.
Allie's buying a new
Oh,
car. No, I'm
let's see
kidding.
here. No, I'm not buying a new car, but I went to go get gas and there was water in it. My car died, and so in order to make myself happy, I rented a BMW convertible, and I've been driving that around for a couple days. So
Here's to that
you know,
gas station. Here's that gas station right here. Son of a bitch, adding water to your. They're trying to get.
and it
I've
happened
never
on a
heard.
Monday. Like
I've
on
never heard
Monday.
of that happening to anyone. You were the very first person in my 54 years that I've ever heard about getting water in the gas tank.
Well, when she
Yeah.
was telling me, and as soon as she said gas tank and she said her car was shaking, the first thing my mind went to is as a teenager, guys, what did they used to put in gas
Sugar.
Sugar.
tanks? Sugar. I was like, okay, someone is mad at Allie. And then she said,
Oh
she
no,
has
that shit was 80% water when they tested it. It was bad.
yeah. I saw you looking at my man. I'm going to put sugar in your tank.
You could pull an Axel Foley and put a banana up in there.
Oh, yeah, in the tailpipe. In the tailpipe.
In the tailpipe, yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna do that one of these days before I get too old. The banana in the tailpipe, Nick. Does that work?
We're gonna toilet paper Nick's house next
Potato.
weekend. Come on.
Oh hell no, that is the wrong. I've seen his videos. What he does on the week. I ain't TP in Nick's house. He's probably got booby traps all over the damn place. I've seen him shoot a fucking grenade launcher. I'm not fucking doing anything at Nick's house. I might come and cut his lawn for free just so I don't get shot. And our number one guest, Mr. Nick Orlando. Welcome, Nick. How
What's
is your
happening?
week going in sunny
Man, it's
Florida?
going good. I got fired 3 times from the shop. But
Did you get a watch?
today I was
Did you
hired
get a-
back because they
Rewatch.
needed the light bulbs changed and light fixtures. So they brought me back. One of the other stores needed a toilet bowl cleaning and a pipe replacement. So I got to do that.
Nice.
And then I promoted myself in my other company, and I'm still vice president of Florida Smoke Free.
Promoted
Nobody else wants a job. So,
Nobody wants that
Did you
job.
give your-
so it's been a pretty good week.
Nick, did you give yourself a Costco gift card for the promotion or what? Nick's having technical.
We lost him.
I'm gonna have
There he
a
is.
slice of pizza.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nick promotes
How'd you lose
himself
me?
and then has a pizza party for himself.
For himself.
For himself. No, you can't have a slice. You can't have a slice.
No, this is just for me.
Right. But yeah, all in all, a good week. Just went on a quick trip to Cincinnati. Took my grandbabies to the zoo.
Nice.
They needed to see a hippopotamus, so we went there before they started school and flew back, and that was that. And
Nice.
they're starting school and
That's a no-no.
back to the grind, man. Just
That
primaries
is a
going on in
no-no.
Florida, so
You
Staying
are one
busy.
hell of a no-no. I'm going to send you that world's greatest no-no shirt. You need that. I'm surprised I haven't seen you wear one yet.
No.
You don't own the world's greatest no-no shirt?
no, I'd be embarrassed, man. I can't wear that. Come
Oh,
on.
get out of here. I'm going to send you one. We are going to
You
start
can't
out.
buy it for yourself. It's even weirder.
No,
right?
yeah. No, I would buy it for you. You're not my no-no, but I
It's-
consider you a no-no. So you're in that same group as me.
Is my internet screwing
You're
up?
coming
Yep.
in and out every now and then, yeah. It might
freeze
be
a little. Oh, there he
Yeah.
went.
Well, that might make some people happy.
There
Yeah.
we go.
You look a lot better now, Nick.
Nick just demoted himself.
Camera's in focus now.
Hey, Timmy, say hello to
It
everybody
is.
out there.
Hey, everybody. How you doing on this wonderful Wednesday evening? I hope you guys got a cake at your work, not like some of the rest of us around here.
Not even a
At any
pizza.
rate, what's up, Mr. Michael Redfern? Good to see you, brother. How you been? Long time no see. It was only 7 days, wasn't it? Curtis Clemens. Mr. Curtis Clemens
Tim's
in the
face.
house. Yeah, there it
Tim's
is.
face
There.
froze like that. That was
Yeah.
funny.
That's what
good.
I look like. I do. That's what I look like every morning when I look in the mirror.
When you said, "Hey," it froze.
Hey.
I was like, "What?"
So I got Curtis, I got Michael, Professor. Hold on, let me make sure I say it right. Milky. You want to say Millicky, Professor Millicky, Prof Milky. Good to see you again. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. I know Mallory was up there way at the tippy top. I have not seen her chime in since the show started. But we got a 10 banger on board, so I know there's some other people. We got some people in the shadows watching the show. They're like ready to pounce and just comment, ready to
Is there
say all
somebody
kinds
named
of.
Jacob out there, Tim?
Jake, yeah, Jake's there.
No,
I just saw
another
his
one.
name pop up. Hold on, he was
Another
there.
Jacob.
Jake Schweitzer's there. Jake comes
The
on
other
the
one.
show. Good to see you, Jake.
There's Mr. Jake.
He's right there. Are you talking about that Jake,
Not
or is
that
there
one.
you looking for
No.
another Jake?
Another
There's a
Jake.
hidden Jake. There's
He's
a hidden
waiting for the
Jacob in
pizza
there.
party, Nick. He's
A
waiting
ninja Jake. We have a ninja Jake in the room, everybody.
He's waiting for that pizza.
Yeah, waiting for that cake to get served up.
There he is, Jacob
There he is.
Uribe. I was wondering if he's going to show his face out there.
Well, hey, how you doing, Jacob?
Welcome to the show.
Yep,
He is
I'm
a
sure.
ninja. He is
Yeah,
a
I'm sure
ninja.
Nick probably screwed up your last name. I'm gonna go with
I'm not even trying.
Urib, or is
I'm
it
not-
A? Do you actually pronounce the E like Uribe? Post in the comments
gonna tell
below.
us?
Is that what they say in all the TikTok videos? Post in the comments below.
Yeah.
Sound it out for us.
All right, we are done. Allie is going to jump into her two articles. Which one you doing first? The Christina one?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
they're both,
yeah.
know,
Yeah, I just
about
want to
her,
put the put the link in the chat so people can find the article.
Yeah, I mean, I found a few, but they're all basically the same information. So basically, she's been the director for the Center for Tobacco Studies and a professor of health behavior, society, and policy at Rutgers. And now she's been appointed chairperson of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration Tobacco Products Scientific Advisory Committee, which is surprising, I think, to a lot of people because she's been pretty vocal on how she thinks that electronic cigarettes are safer than regular cigarettes. Now, she has touched on in a few articles I've seen the youth issue, and she is a big supporter of a menthol ban. So it's not all good news, I don't think. I think that we know prohibition doesn't work no matter what it is. But she is somebody that has been, definitely working with us. I think she's the person that I think I just read the article last week about the misinformation among physicians and that, that physicians misperceptions and they need to be educated on electronic cigarettes efficiency, particularly correcting their misperceptions about tobacco products and saying that they're all equally harmful, as opposed to the fact that combusted tobacco is far the most dangerous. So I'm kind of shocked. I want to be optimistic because that's just who I am, but I also understand that if she's going to the FDA, it can't all be good. But I'm hoping that maybe they need somebody like her involved in this situation, because we do need somebody who's going to stop this information that's coming out of the FDA, because it's deterring people from, trying safer alternatives. The article that she posted was that many physicians have misconceptions about e-cigarettes. Most doctors want more evidence and safety before they'll recommend them. Many physicians incorrectly believe all tobacco products are equally harmful and thus are less likely to recommend e-cigarettes for people seeking to quit smoking. 480,000 people die each year in the United States from smoking tobacco. And although the FDA has not approved e-cigarettes as a cessation device, many people think their physicians, they'll ask them about using them as an alternative, and she's basically saying it's a lot safer because e-cigarettes use heated liquid, not combustion, which we all know. She's saying as evidence grows showing e-cigarettes are potentially as effective for smoking cessation, they may play a pivotal role in reducing the use of cigarettes and subsequently tobacco-caused diseases. So that's a huge, I think it's a huge thing for us, especially because we just saw Brian King come in and he obviously didn't have a lot of nice things to say.
No, he didn't.
So this is, I think I was shocked when I saw it because I've seen her like tweets from people in our community. I've seen her even interact a little bit in the past. So that could potentially maybe help us as far as getting something through.
Yeah. Do you? I had a friggin'. That was a praying mantis just landed on me. I don't know how the hell that fucker got in the house. It just scared the living shit out of me just now, dude. Do you think this is basically? Oh, now he's on my desk. God damn it! All right. Do you think this is kind of just their way of saying, "Hey, look, we've got somebody that's 50-50 with us now"?
I mean, it could be. I don't trust the FDA at all, but I mean, I just think it's shocking considering that they've been obviously going after people that are anti-vaping to come into, the FDA and the CDC, and all of a sudden now this person who's been outspoken even as recently as July 5th when this article was posted. So, and even as far back as I found this one older article from the Truth Initiative, and as much as I don't want to give them any credit, it's obviously from 2015 when they had a little bit of a different stance. She's even quoted in here, saying this study, these lines and other recent evidence that regular daily e-cigarette use may help some smokers quit cigarettes. So she's been saying this information for quite some time.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that she doesn't completely flip and then go against us,
Yeah.
Some of her early research started as early as 2008.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
She's been at it for a while now.
Right, and she's even quoted the Royal College of Physicians. Yeah, she's even quoted them in some articles, which is like unheard of coming from somebody like that. So I just think it's an interesting choice, and I'm honestly curious to see what's going to happen next.
Cautiously optimistic.
She may or may not get a pizza party when she leaves. We're not sure yet.
She might get a pizza party if she makes any kind of headway.
I think a lot of it will hinge on exactly how she sees the issue. I mean, I don't think it's so incredibly wrong for someone to be outspoken against about the youth issue in the grander sense of it, because there's not an adult vapor among us that endorses kids vaping. I mean, we might make commentary to the effect and say, well, if my kid got caught with a disposable or a cigarette, I'd be much happier he stumbled onto the disposable. That said, we definitely don't endorse it. We've been outspoken against, all the methodology or the control methods you could put in place to keep it out of the kids' hands, knowing that kids are going to find a way to get the shit anyway. But if she's able to separate the two and find balance in her commentary and say, we absolutely need to do something about curbing youth usage.
Yeah.
But we also understand that it does have a net health benefit to adults who are looking to quit smoking, which is 99.99% primarily exactly what we fight for and what we continue to try to advocate to put in the hands of other people looking for that one silver bullet to potentially get them away from cigarettes. And so if she's able to separate the two and see them from two different views and treat them individually, we might stand a chance with her. But if she gets sucked into that vacuum of these heavy-handed anti people, controlling
Yeah,
her
well, because the
thoughts.
kid issue is what they hang their hat on every
Exactly.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
So-
the thing.
In looking at her, part of what I was doing earlier today was kind of diving into where does her funding come from. The majority comes from the National Cancer Institute. Now, I don't know how much influence they will have in her future position, but that could be not so cool, right? Some of her research, they funded like 3.5 million. Just the one of the e-cig ones, they did 2.5 million dollars on a bunch of separate little contributions funding her moving through that process. So I'm optimistic that it's good if she continues to tell the facts, because we all know the facts and the research are real and it's
Yeah.
on our side. But
Yep.
at the moment she flips that switch based on what the funding was in the past, it might be a problem.
Yeah.
So that's just
Right.
me. I mean, I'm a little.
Well,
you know,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
fool me 30 times, FDA.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you're not going to fool me again, like I can't. It's hard to stay positive and stay optimistic when you just keep getting more bullshit
Yep.
from them.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's, it is hard, but at the same time, it's also surprising that they went in this direction, because they could have
Yeah.
picked anyway. They could have picked somebody with no experience like they did with Brian King,
Yeah.
but they didn't. So it's
Yeah.
just kind of interesting to see.
Maybe they're filling a quota.
Agreed.
No, I'm kidding. Just
Maybe
kidding.
they're going to get audited, or they're
Boom, boom.
going to be looked at, and they need to have some balanced,
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I think if we want to do our own audit of the FDA, I mean, you'd have to look at it and say, well, you need some fair and balanced in there, right? You can't just have one viewpoint from everybody in the FDA. You have to have some voice of reason to maybe talk some sense into those knuckleheads, but we'll see what happens.
And she actually knows the science, which it's clear that no one else
Yeah.
at the FDA does. So
Right, yeah.
it's nice to have somebody that has the knowledge, and it's honestly, it's going to be really obvious if she goes in there and changes her tune, because of how long she's been studying these things.
Right.
So it's going to
Yeah.
show you exactly what direction the FDA is going in, and what,
What was that?
Dun, dun, dun.
Somebody said who she is.
Me. So we're gonna find out who she really is.
Yeah.
Well, the way I look at it, we can't be hurt anymore, right?
No.
I mean, what can
No.
she do that would hurt us?
Nothing.
So she might help.
Yeah.
Keep repeating the same crap that
It's
nobody
okay to,
believes
it's
in.
okay to
Well,
kick 13 million people while they're
Yeah.
down.
Maybe she hasn't got her FDA handbook yet. So, there's that possibility.
We might have to retract all that stuff.
You might, yeah.
pull a glance
It's all
on her and just take
cliff notes and highlight. You don't say this right here. You need to change your stance on here. Remember where your funding's coming. I mean,
That's right.
it's sad, but that's what it comes down to. And she's a scientist, and scientists need money to do their research. And a lot of times funding changes people's opinion a little bit,
Mhm.
just a little bit.
I mean, I'm pretty sure funding is the reason the FDA is doing this in the first place. So
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they just hired her to read PMTAs.
someone to actually
Well, you
look
think
at it?
about
They
Oh my
need
God.
the help. They need the help. They're just gonna hire her and just here you go. Here you go.
Here.
all of them are out there telling lies for
Here's
funding.
a stack of 8 million fucking. Go through these and then we'll figure it all out. I mean,
Truth
does
doesn't
it
yield a
even?
whole lot of funding,
Yeah, I mean,
not the big money.
I looked through the article, a couple of the articles. Does it really even say what she's going to be doing at all? Did you see that at all?
I
That's
mean,
what I noticed. It doesn't say anywhere.
no, that title, as fancy as it might sound, is not
a
very.
It is a mouthful. I hate to have to tell people that what I do for a living at a party, and I just
Imagine that business card. Like, I'm going to need the front and the back for this.
Yeah. Hold on. You're gonna need to sit down for this one.
I would say scientific advisory committee, that she's going to be one of the people that advises the FDA on of their opinion based on the science. That's what I would think.
I would hope so.
Maybe they make recommendations to the FDA based on the science. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I looked at 3 articles just to see. Usually they have a breakdown, of what your new title is, what they're going to be doing, so you can kind of have a general idea of what they're up to. But it's just a title and no description of her job duties whatsoever. What am I thinking? It's a federal
Like
job.
everyone else
So
at the
it's a
FDA.
federal job. Just show up. Oh, yeah. That's
I'm
the
sure
guy.
they'll have it spelled out for you.
Eventually, yeah.
You know?
Eventually,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would only hope so. Other than that, I didn't see anything else, on her exactly. I always wonder, I know this, everybody has someone in a family that smokes. Everybody has someone that has cancer. And maybe this is someone that has dealt with it, and I hate using this. Don't call me but I think it's nice having a woman in there. 'Cause I think we get a different look at it than I think we get from men. I may be wrong. I may be, but I feel like, don't give me that, Nick. I just feel like a woman's going to be a little bit more sensitive to, well,
Passionate?
maybe,
Yeah.
never mind. I'm going to stop right there.
No, I'm curious. Go ahead, please.
No, I just feel if she's been involved in dealing with family members that have cancer or passed away with cancer, her outlook and research and study and anything that's going to help prevent it, she's going to have more passion into it than I think a guy would. I could be wrong. Look at
Nick
Nick.
is so offended right now. He's about to just leave.
I'm not shitting on all men, Nick. I'm not shitting on men. I just feel that you get a different outlook when it's a female that has had to deal with a lot of that stuff, and someone with her education and knowledge, I think is just, maybe it's a little different.
I
I'm
think in a
hoping I
roundabout
can
way,
fuck.
he's saying we're more emotional. I think that's what
You're more emotional.
saying.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, you can go back to the 50s. It's regular hiring 101. All right, I'm gonna just shut up before I age myself.
Well,
Go ahead. Tim Rose's hand to save me.
yep. I'm gonna bail you out here.
Yeah,
Yeah, go sit in the corner for about 3 minutes.
three.
'Cause, yeah, you're in timeout right now.
Hold on, let me see if I have a
No, all right.
3-minute
Well, two
timer.
things. What's interesting to me is that you see all these people that kind of like start coming in and heading up these particular agencies or governmental bodies and stuff like that, and they deal directly with the vaping issue. But the one thing you never hear from any of these particular people is if they've had any particular firsthand experience with people who may vape in their circle, within their family, within their extended families. There has got to be someone in that pipeline of their families to say, when we're at family gatherings, cousin John is over there in the corner with his mod, and you makes you wonder whether or not they've even bothered to ask some questions of cousin John or try to understand what it is about that where that person's standpoint is on the issue, right? I'm not saying that person is going to sway them to think or look a different direction, but it just seems like that's the most tone deaf element of this whole thing. They live their lives based on studies, surveys, dates, whatever scientific data they claim is valid enough to make judgment calls on net health benefits and all that. But you never hear any of them really sort of come out and say, well, I've got a few people in my family that vape, and I've seen a dramatic
Improvement.
net benefit in their health since they were smokers. Now they're at the party running around with the kids kicking the soccer ball when before all they would do is sit in the lawn chair and just hack and cough and wheeze. I mean, are none of these people exposed to anyone who vape? It's almost as if they don't exist. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't exist in their world. It's just we're these people that do this dangerous thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was said. I happened to go look at the Rutgers article, and as a synopsis, it just says that particular committee reviews and evaluates safety, dependence, and health issues related to tobacco products and provides advice, information, and recommendations to the FDA's commissioner. So she's the chairperson of that committee that takes a look at all of these particulars and provides advice to the commissioner. So, hopefully she's a voice of reason on that particular
what is she
board.
gonna
But that's
do,
what
prove
her
herself
job
wrong?
will be, is to be sort of the jockey for what
Right.
information they gather and look at.
Right. And her stance is that,
But again,
should
I
be
just question:
differentiated.
have any of these fucking people met a vapor before,
Yeah.
or have they just seen kids with disposables in there.
Well, no,
Nick-
because even
yeah,
the
go ahead.
surveys they do, you're like,
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
gotta
who
fix
are they
my mic.
asking these questions to? No person I know that's a vapor would answer these questions this way. So who are they asking?
No, they're perfectly worded too as well. But yeah, Nick has brought it up before about some of the people in Florida, right, that are in seats there that have help. What do you call them? Interns that are vapors. It makes a difference. It makes a
Yeah,
difference.
so it does in the background, but publicly it doesn't. So,
Yeah.
you see it, you hear about it, and some of these, even lawmakers are using vapor now. So when we get on the floor and we're fighting a bill, the votes may be a whip vote or something to where they're getting ready to vote for us, but there's only 3 of them to 20 of the other side. So they're just like, well, I'm not going to tarnish it, so I'll just go with the 20 and it'll be unanimous. It happened with that big bill that we had, 810. I mean, we had friendlies, but there weren't enough. And they were just like, well, we voted with them because it was no sense in tarnishing and ruining my credibility for this cause if if it was over anyway. So I got to save my credibility for next time and maybe push in a different manner. So it's a strategy. Yes, they see it, they know it, they're touched by it. They sometimes even use the product, but they cannot openly come out and talk about it. Nurses and doctors' offices do it, but doctors, you don't see any doctors coming out in positive vapor, right? In positive language about it. But nurses are smoking cigarettes and nurses are using vapor products, and people in their own office, secretaries and receptionists, they're all doing it, but you don't hear about it because they will be bastardized if they do it. And that's, at the end of the day, that's pretty much it. And ruin their credibility. We have scientists that can't come out at the Moffitt Center because of it, the cancer center. One of the big ones in the country that will not come out and speak positively to impact the industry because they'll be shunned. Just like Rodu and those guys. I mean, they've all been thrown around because they came out.
Yeah, and when they vote on stuff, they'll even trade. Like they'll say, if you back me up on this, I'll back you up on that. And they don't even really know what the issue is. Or if they do, they want something that they want passed, so they're going to do it. And that's not how.
And even with what they're voting on, Allison, and most everybody here knows, is that they don't line item those things when they're voting on them. They don't sit down and read line items. There is one legislator that does, and that's Ron Marshall out of Montana. He'll line item it and then share it with the rest of the lawmakers, but the majority of them will not line item. And he only learned that from the vapor industry, that people don't do it. Yeah. And if you're speaking for the people, you got to line item it and see what's buried in there and dig through all the garbage. That's how these omnibus bills and all that crap get passed. They don't line item. They just kind of
slipped in there. Yep.
What they're told and what they hear about it from their buddy who's already voting on it, and they're out having beer. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, when I went to go take my mom to get her lab work today, that's who was out in front in the little smoking area. It was I know they're nurses because they're wearing those blue scrubs, but they're all vaping. They were all vaping. And one of these days, I'm just going to record it. I know I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not allowed to do that. But one of these days, I'm just going to drive by because there are doctor's coats, and I don't know if they're just lab coats or whatnot, but they're out there. They were all vaping. I think I saw 2 people actually smoking. And the funny part was those 2 people were nowhere near the vapors. They were like they're vaping. That's way more dangerous than this cigarette that I'm smoking. They're like in another area. And I'm like, I'm going to take a picture of it. I'm going to drive by it and I'm just going to video. I can do that thing. I have that little app that'll blur the faces. So you don't see their faces, but you'll see that there are hospital staff that are just out there vaping away. And I'm sure, you're right. I mean, I'm sure they can't really say anything. I wonder, though, if when you're a nurse and you're a vapor and someone asks you, hey, is this better for you than cigarettes? I would assume that the nurse is going to say yes. Don't you guys? I mean, if it's like a friend to friend.
I think the sentence will start, well, off the record.
Off the record,
yes. But on the record, there's not enough. We need more studies done.
Yeah, we need more work.
See, my doctor said, vape, but don't stay on it forever. And I'm like, okay. But yeah.
We have nurses, doctors, EMTs, and everybody that shop with us. I mean,
and
you ask them to come out, and they're just like, well, it wouldn't have much impact, but I mean,
You got to get the whole nurses union involved. You have to get the whole
the more of them that will say something, though, it does make a difference.
But that might change.
Yeah.
because we have a new woman in the FDA.
Thank you.
She's so emotional.
An emotional female in the FDA.
Touche,
You-
Truncali.
You
Touche.
never know. You never know. And she's Italian, so you never know. You just don't know.
Game over.
Game over.
An emotional Italian woman. Forget it.
Yeah.
Forget about it.
There's so much stereo. No, I'm not going to go into that. Shoes
ready to
will be
back
You're
flying.
yelling at
Another
the
point?
back of your hand.
Shoes will be flying in the FDA. Someone's going to get hit with a shoe. That's
No,
for
Okay.
sure.
even
Hit with a wooden
if she
spoon.
helps just a little bit, right? If they listen to her at all
Yeah.
as a newly appointed person on this committee, it would be amazing. Travis, don't be speaking that, Travis.
She's
You'll
a
ruin
woman,
John's
Travis.
night.
Negative, Nancy.
Negative Nancy.
They're going to
She's
take
an
her out to
emotional
dinner
woman.
to
Leave her
Ruth
alone.
Chris and screw
Somebody
it all
quick-
up for us.
Somebody get some FDA guys. What are you doing tonight?
Yeah.
We need to sit
We're
down.
headed
and
over to
talk.
Morton's. Why don't you come hang out for a little while?
They got to take her. There's some fancy steak. You know, Tim, you lived out there, but there's some fancy steakhouses out there in Washington. So you never know.
Travis, I agree with you 100%.
Oh wait, I was supposed to wait 53 more seconds for my
I'm
timeout,
optimistic.
but Tim put me a timeout.
Time out, schmime out.
I put
no
the
one's
clock
paying
up
attention.
there. It's 45 seconds.
We're just
left.
dreaming. Can we dream for a little bit that we've actually got
Look
somebody
at
on our
Travis.
side
He's
in
such
the
a
FDA?
dream crusher.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah,
think
thanks
that's
for the
great.
buzzkill, Travis.
I think it's great. I think is she going to listen? Is she going to be treated as the new person for a while? How long is it?
I
gonna
think
take
she'll be
before
put
she-
in check heavily.
Yeah,
I think she'll be put in check very heavily. I don't think that she's going to be able to publicly come out and speak too loudly or be as, have as much leeway as she had before.
Maybe, though, she'll be able to change some of those people in there, some of those
Yeah.
other emotional women.
Hmm.
What then?
Yeah.
Tap on their emotions?
Nick's not going to let me down on that. Maybe she
Just
should
think.
go. Maybe she
It
should
could
go
happen.
after. Maybe she should go after Pave next.
I hear their thinking is a lot clearer over a Pampered Chef party. So
I tell you, the first Tupperware party the FDA has, she's going to sway him. She's going to sway him.
It's going to be wine.
I am
Wine will do
so
it.
much in trouble with that one. No, I hope that she does have some leeway. I mean, she's got to make some changes. She has a lot of positive articles out there. She does support it somewhat, and maybe her voice will be heard. We just don't know. We'll have to wait and see. To be
Just
honest.
a little
I mean,
bit.
is she going to
That's all
go
we
against
need.
her own science? Is that
Yeah,
what's going to happen?
That's the thing, because I mean, she's got to be thinking that. She's got to be thinking, hey, this community is just sitting back waiting for her to go up against what she already previously wrote and just rip her
It kind of
apart.
takes away from her credibility if she goes
Yeah.
back on things that she's been stating this whole time.
I'm sure there's plenty of screenshots to share.
Yeah. This
Yeah, tomorrow you guys are going to click on that link and
Yeah.
the article.
Yeah.
Si-
Remember what you wrote back in 2008?
And these were your words.
Yeah, you're exactly. I think you wrote this. Just that's how the tweet will start. I think you wrote this. Well, that would, if you think about that, though, that's kind of a plus for the FDA. Just a reason to get rid of her. If she doesn't comply and she does maybe change her way, and we attack her, then the FDA says she's not credible. Bam, gone. So I mean, you got to. They're maybe playing their cards. I don't know.
But maybe
Next
she
thing
can
you
help
she's
bail
working at
them
Philip
out
Morris.
Yeah.
of the mess.
We're
The
really
mess that
screwing this guy,
that
this
they're in.
woman's career. We're really screwing this woman's career, Nick.
I
You know?
hope she's not watching. She's not.
They could just kind of take her and say, you know what, this one's going to bail us out and get us
Yeah.
out of the mess that we've created, and we'll kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Take some
I
of
mean,
it.
nobody
and,
trusts
you
the
know,
FDA at this point, so they have to do
Yeah.
Right.
something to get some of the trust back that they've lost.
Right. You never know. Let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't
She
do
may-
anything about it.
No,
So-
we can't.
Right.
She,
It could have been a lot worse. The choice could have been a lot worse.
yeah. Nick, she may be promoting herself. I'm just sorry, having her own pizza party at the FDA.
She might. Give her promotion right up, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I'm sure she's looking at it. Hey, someday I could be the main person there at the FDA. Maybe I play my cards right, and I support the right people. This is just stepping stone into that direction. And I don't know what the qualifications to be an FDA commissioner is, but it's not much, right, Allison?
I mean, if you look at Brian King, he has no
No.
experience whatsoever for his job.
I think Tim should run somehow, get into that position.
The only recommendation is, or
Sure.
requirement is, you can't be a vapor. That's probably about it.
Oh well, then
Oh,
I'm submitting my 2-week notice then.
Dude,
I
Tim
was
would
gonna say
roll
I
up
would
like
run
a
'cause I'm super
gangster.
emotional.
Yeah, Tim would roll up at the FDA.
If I can vape and you
like
give me a
yeah.
red a red approval stamp, I will friggin' line up for that job.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure it's a couple grand.
You get approved, and you get
Yeah.
approved.
Curtis is leaving.
You get approved.
Approved.
All right, Curtis, have a good night, brother.
Yeah.
Where's Curtis?
Enjoy. Wait. Everybody, congratulate Curtis on his 28th year anniversary today.
Ooh,
28
congratulations.
years with the little lady, or 28 years like with your favorite car.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'll need to clarify that for us later. Maybe you have a boat that goes
We
by
need to know
a
where he's
lady's
from.
name.
Where's Curtis from?
Curtis, where are you? Where do you reside, sir?
Where do you reside? In
Other
this
than your
wonderful-
house or your couch? What state are you a part of?
Tim
Oh,
knows
that's
Curtis
south.
well. He's covering all his bases. Not the couch.
What's South
Well,
Carolina?
I know Curtis's style is
His sense of
to
humor.
come back with some witty response.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to cut all that out.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway,
Yeah.
we'll find out someday.
He's gone.
We'll reveal to everybody at some point.
The mouse is curious.
Yep.
Let's just we'll wish her the best. That's all we can really say, and hopefully she does her job properly and gives us just a little bit of support. That's all we ask.
Just a little ray of
bit
hope.
support.
Just a little ray of hope. That's all
Yeah,
we're
just
asking.
a little. Just give us a glimpse of sunlight through the doorway. Is that the proper thing? Yeah, I guess you could say it that way.
Can't see the trees through the forest. I don't know.
You can't
something
see.
like
No, I'm not going to go into the sound of tree falling in the woods and all that nonsense.
the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Is that what we're
I'm going to
looking
catch that damn leprechaun one of these days. I'm going to catch that goddamn leprechaun. Get my damn pot of gold.
for?
Yeah. Allison, you have any another article, or I think did you want to go
think
into
that
the one that you were talking about? What was the? Actually, you kind of tied it in. The physician.
The misconceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
kinda-
did
you-
touch on that.
Yeah, you kind of.
Which I did. Yeah, I did talk about it before. But I think basically they're saying the study found that pulmonologists, cardiologists, and physicians who use that public health service clinical practice guidelines for treating tobacco use independence were more likely to recommend e-cigarettes to patients, as were those who endorsed a harm reduction perspective and had themselves smoked cigarettes. Physicians were more likely to recommend e-cigarettes, however, if a patient asked them first. So I guess the point is, I would say, is just keep talking to your doctors about e-cigarettes until you can change their mind. And if you can't change their mind, then I would change my doctor, honestly. I mean, that's what I did. So, and like I said, my doctor's extremely open-minded. I mean, she even had a visit with her today, and she even asked me about my speech and said I'm doing great. Yeah, she's super emotional, so that's probably why she's so easily convinced. But yeah, she's been great. So I think also she never smoked. So when you don't smoke and you don't know how hard it is to quit smoking, you really can't even fathom actually how hard it is to quit smoking.
Yeah.
And how easy it is to quit smoking with vaping, which is like not unheard of with any other, treatment.
Yeah. Well, you make a good point. I think that's something that I think everyone should be discussing with their doctor when they want to quit smoking, because there's still a lot of people that they go that route. Some of us just decide it and just go and start buying something to help us over the counter. But a lot of people still consult their physician. Hey, I've been doing this. I know you've been bitching about it for the last 10 years about me quitting. But like you said, I don't think if you don't bring up vaping, I don't think it's ever going to come up. It's the patch is going to come up, the lozenges. I can't even say it, but
Lozenges.
lozenges and all that other
Lozenges.
nonsense is going to come up in conversation. But unless you bring it up and say, "Hey, what about this vaping?" And then you're
Yeah.
right, you'll get a good idea of where he stands on it, and go from there. But yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think it's ever going to be I don't think it's going to be a long time before a physician says, yeah, you know what, you should try this vaping. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
all those things said, these things that make me wonder.
Wonder. I should
It
have one
make
of
you
those
go,
sound
hmm.
effects.
Well, no, I understand doctors probably don't have a whole lot of time in the world, right? I mean, I've been, in and around doctors' offices quite a bit, and I know how hard it is just to get sometimes appointments for people who are looking for, things for anxiety. They're trying to deal with, a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whatever. They're trying to find medications, and a lot of times you're talking to somebody who's, taking your information, but why does it feel like you just never see a doctor get curious, right? If a doctor really has
Yeah.
questions about it, he could take his own sample set, right? He could just take one of his patients that's come in that, he knows had specific issues due primarily to his smoking habit. And whether or not the doctor actually advised him to pick up vaping, that person arbitrarily picked it up on his own. And then he was coming into the doctor's office, and then and the doctor asks the questions, and you hope that the patient's honest and go, well, hey doc, I picked up this vaping thing and I seem to be feeling a lot better, like things seem to be turning
Yeah.
around. I took your advice, I realized I couldn't smoke anymore by your advice, but I chose vaping. And that doctor say, hey, you know what, I want to go ahead and get some X-rays of your chest or something. I mean, I'm sure a doctor can consume
Yeah.
some of those costs on his own. He doesn't have to charge the patient for it. And say, I'd like you to come in and see me every 3 months, and I want to just take some pictures, and do some general studies on, just take a look at your progress with vaping, and
Yep.
build his own timeline. He doesn't need to see that guy for hours and hours and hours to conduct a general study, but he could look at superficial types of reactions to the progress of vaping and see, is his oxygen intake better? Do his lungs look a lot cleaner? Are
Hmm.
symptoms that he was suffering before that obviously were related to to smoking going away?
Yeah.
A doctor, it wouldn't be that hard for a doctor to figure out that some improvements are being made just by the fact that this guy is vaping, and he could answer his own questions without going to papers and journals and all this mixed information that they probably
Hmm.
get anyway, that
Yeah.
they have
Yep.
to make judgments. And so if you got time to sit and read all that crap, you got your you
Hmm.
got your studies you got your study specimen right there in front of you, coming in and seeing you face to face.
Yeah.
Try that,
Eh,
Well,
doctors.
Go ahead,
I
Alan.
almost died from a blood clot from smoking. And when I had all of my, my medical records transferred from New York to my doctor down here, we do, routine blood work, because I have to, and I think that was the biggest thing, that the improvement in what she saw from when I was smoking to what she sees now, and that I've been vaping for 8 years. I
Yeah.
think that she even got more friendly towards it, and now even asks me more about it and what I'm doing, because I think she genuinely was surprised herself to see, well, if this is so bad, how it has she so vastly improved. So,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah. And
proof
let's
is
be
there. They just have to be curious
yeah.
about it.
Yeah. And let's be honest, most of us, if my doctor didn't retire, I still have the same doctor since 1980. So it's not
Mhm.
like, he doesn't know me. He knew I was a smoker and he sees the benefits, but he retired a couple years ago. But yeah, I mean, like Tim is saying, most of us have the same doctor and had the same
Right.
doctors for many, many, many years. And you would wonder why they wouldn't say, how come you're looking better? Why does your skin look better? Why is your blood pressure better? What have you changed in your life? Well, I still eat pizza every morning. I still drink a Mountain Dew, but the only thing I changed is I vape now. Oh, okay. No, none of that. But again, let's
Right.
be honest, majority of your time spent at the doctor is in two freaking waiting rooms. That's the one out front
Hmm.
and then the one in the room. And then you got about, honestly, what, 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes tops. You waited longer than you, Tim. You never sounded better.
I understand that. That's what I was trying to emphasize. Is a
yeah.
lot of times the doctors don't spend a whole lot of time with you.
Yeah.
They usually get the report from the nurse or the consultant or whoever sits in front of you and gets all your information and your updates.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we hear all these reports about how doctors are reluctant to suggest this or send a person off to that type of tobacco harm reduction methodology or treatment because they don't know enough or they're unsure, but they're getting that information from somewhere, right? So that means they've found some time in their busy schedule in your 10-minute per pop per visit that they've developed that opinion to be unsure when they've got the perfect specimen in front of them. Fuck it, dude. You don't even have to talk to me about it. Send your little rat that comes in and talks to me for 20 minutes.
Wait a minute.
And,
there you
what? Go. Thank you. That's a mouse, not a rat. But send your little mole in. We'll they identify as moles. And have them interview me, have them set me up for the test or whatever. If they're the people that can afford the time, because that's why you hire them, then you can come in and talk to me for the 10 minutes about, hey, I was looking at your report right before I got in here, and I'm really encouraged by the results that I'm seeing. The COPD side of symptoms are going away. Your oxygen rate has gone up dramatically. Your lungs look wonderful. Stick with that vaping, man. And then the doctor can come in other times and go, all right, Sadie, you need to get rid of those Virginia Slims you've been smoking for the last 35 years. I've got the perfect thing for you. Go down and try this particular thing. Yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is doctors are on the front lines. They have the people right there. Why are you going to go rely on some journal or some paper or some publication that was quote unquote peer reviewed and develop your opinions there when you've got them right there?
Well, reason being is number one, pharmaceutical companies, and two, insurance companies. He wants to make sure he has plenty of pens at the front office there at the desk. So,
of course,
from
I'm just saying, there's got to be someone who lives with some curiosity.
From all the other pharmaceutical, and let's be honest, why isn't let's call it a company, Kaiser? Why isn't Kaiser stepped up and said, hey, you know what? Let's do our own little study. We have all these members. How many of these members are vaping? Let's do our own little study. Let's see what's happening here. Because you got to assume a few Kaiser patients have said, "Hey, doc, I'm vaping now." You know what? And why isn't Kaiser or Sutter Gould, these big friggin' corporations, haven't sat down and said, "Hey, you know what? Let's do our own little study. Let's not pay attention to what the FDA is writing or these other groups. We've got 1.5 million members. I'm sure a large portion of these members are vaping. Let's do our own little thing." But again, who are they going to hurt other than themselves? Because if this is something that's going to work, now you don't have chemo treatment. You don't have people needing these pills. You don't have people needing the pharmaceutical fucking patches, whatever you want to call them.
Patches everywhere.
They don't put them on their neck anymore, right? It used to be the back of the shoulder. Now it's your arm, right? You put it on your arm. I think when they first came out, they told everybody to put them like right here,
closer to the nicotine receptors in your brain.
Each shoulder, one on each arm.
Nick just had them on his pecs. Nick
patch pasties.
He had them on his calves
with tassels on the end.
It didn't work. It still didn't work.
I got 17 patches on, but I'm still smoking a pack and a half a day.
Well, I posted a meme the other day on Twitter, and it just simply, it was a doctor standing in front of a chalkboard teaching his first class at medical school, and the inscribed thing on the chalkboard said, "A patient cured is a customer lost."
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yep. I am going to put the link to this next very funny article done by Jim McDonald here. I'm sure Nick is going to like this one because I'm sure the state of Florida is investing in this too because it's pretty close to you guys, I think. A $2,000 vape cam for cops. Wait, I like how Jim Wright. Wait for the clone. That's the second part of the. There's going to be a Chinese company that's going to say, you know what, we can make that cheaper than $2,000. Yeah, yeah, and it'll still say smock on it, just so the kids know that it's real. It's the smock cam. Companies that specialize in selling surveillance equipment to police, lens equipment. You heard of them, Nick? Formerly Team Intel and Lead Aid are selling a functional. It's functional too, guys. That's important. Well, it's got to function.
Yeah, kind of the whole crux of the thing, isn't it?
See, all of the cameras on the bottom, so he does this. He just walks around the vape shop like this.
So that's what's on the bottom of my Asmodus mod, huh? Yeah, it's the camera.
If you guys haven't seen the article, it's hilarious because he uses that. It's an old scene from 30 Rock. I don't know if you guys know the 30 Rock fans, where what's his name goes undercover at a high school and he's walking around with the skateboard and he's trying to pretend like he's a teenager and he's like 50 years old. It is functional. It says the camera and a built-in digital recorder, all for the low price. I like how you write that. All for the low price of $19.95. Your thoughts, Nick? Is the police department there in Florida going to be buying some of these $2,000 functional too?
I would say they're not going to buy them. They're going to get funding for them from somewhere, and they'll be giving them from some group if they need them. But I don't see it happening. Do you?
I mean, honestly, what? Yeah. I mean, come on. I don't understand.
Look, first of all, they've been defunded, so I don't know how they're going to afford that, right? I mean, let's be honest. Staffing is slim. Nobody wants to be a damn cop anymore. Who are they giving it to? Dogs? You strap them on dogs or something? I mean, let's be honest.
The dog vapes. Look at them.
It sounds
and what is the unique purpose of the device? I mean, just to surveil
shops. They go into shops. They can go in there, kind of holding their mod and try to buy e-liquid.
So these are undercover type secret shopper kind of shit.
Yeah.
They already have stuff like this.
Yeah, I mean.
Just buy the glasses. Just buy the Google glasses. I think the
Google
glasses are
intervention. You don't need a camera. You just walk in and bring out a receipt. I mean,
we have cameras are going in shops, so we'll give you the footage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the old trick was the Mark 20, right? That's what the kids used to do. They would come in with that Mark 20, and once they purchased something, the cops came in and they told you to open a register. They had a photocopy of the $20 bill. If that bill was in your register, guess what, buddy? You're done. I mean, that's simple. It's not going to cost you $2,000 to fucking buy it.
A cop drives these kids around, right? Because they get popped for something. So it's like pre-trial intervention. Yeah. They get the juvenile. They drive them to where they're going. They say, we'll sit here. You go in. Okay, boom. They go in. They make the buy. They come out, hand the receipt. They don't go anywhere else, but from the car to the door and back to their car. Yeah. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And there is no cost in that because they have to give community service. So that's part of their community service. So it don't cost them a damn dime.
Yeah. Well, I think, like I said, I think the Google glasses. Yeah, I think the Google or Apple glasses are cheaper than $2,000. I mean, you can even find. All right, let's see here. This was actually a link that was posted by Connolly, the American vapor manufacturer, and I think Jim just went off that article. It's a North Carolina Sheriff's Office. The sheriff of Winston County thinks it's just groovy.
I'm South Carolina.
She's South Carolina.
She's closer than me.
He said it's just groovy. That was his statement. He thinks it's groovy, and it made it part of his $11.9 million proposal budget. Nick.
Yeah, it's not going to go to that. I got news for you. It might be part of his budget, but that money ain't going there.
Yeah, I mean, even the audit guys probably going through that before they decide whether or not to give him money, and they're going to be like, "Really? Do you really need this device right here?" But it's groovy. It's groovy.
Padding the budget, baby.
Yeah. And I'm And if it is something, I mean, China's just sitting back thinking, we could do this for
$19.99
Yeah,
with the decimal on a different spot.
$1.99. We'll put whatever label you want it, smock, fucking, geek vake, whatever model you
The
want.
crazy thing is they're doing it right now with their label on it.
Yeah. It's $2,000. So,
The margin's like $1,900 on those damn things.
Yeah, I mean, for $2,000, that better be some fucking great 4K video footage. That's all I'm saying. There better be a microphone somewhere on that thing because you got to get audio too. I mean, you can't. It's got to be some audio in there.
They're all going to end up being grainy Bigfoot videos.
Yeah, you can't even see the faces and shit.
This is going to be like the next live PD. It's going to be Vape Cam Live.
And they'll just be able to grab like one still frame where like you can't quite tell what transaction actually took place.
Oh,
but
the perfect thing would be every photographer's worst nightmare: the finger in the shot. That's what I see happening because you're giving these to kids, and they're like, "I told you to move your finger off the lens." And it's just 5-minute footage of the kid's finger on the lens of the camera. Go back in there and buy some
muffled
more
audio. Very, very.
Yeah.
Strawberry.
But it's a funny article, but it just kind of makes you wonder, and I want to share this on my Facebook page just to see how stupid this is getting. To be honest, this is stupid that that our government and these agencies, the police departments, think they need a $2,000 vape device with a camera on it to catch people selling to minors. That's how ridiculous it has gotten. And it's just go back to the old ways. And I mean, in the 80s, I think every store around this area that I lived in knew they got to knock it off because they were getting busted left and right. They were coming in, they were cardboarding all their windows where the alcohol was, and they were shut down. And they never went back to it. And even this new guy I was talking about last week selling the 25-cent cigarettes singles, and I'm like, dude, you can't do that. You're going to get yourself in a lot of friggin' trouble. And thank God it wasn't in Modesto. It was just outside of Modesto. But I don't go into the store, and I went in there and I had to get a drink. And this guy walks by and goes, "Can I get one?" And I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And he handed him one cigarette, and then he paid him like 75 cents for this. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, is 75 cents worth your friggin' livelihood, dude? I mean, seriously, 75 cents worth your livelihood, that you're selling that pack. The state of California, number one, is pissed off at you because they're not getting any tax off that one cigarette, But yeah, it's just gotten to the point where I really want people to see how stupid things have gotten. With how they think they need to attack this issue instead of just going back and, being a good parent, paying attention to your fucking kid. If you're like we talked about, if your kid is spending $300 a week on something, you goddamn better know what the hell he's spending $300 on. And, what's his name brought up the fact, some of these kids got jobs and they know how to make money, but still $300, man. I don't care if my son is making his own money. If he's spending $300 on something a week, I kind of want to know what it is,
Yeah.
And John, if they carry around those vape devices, they're going to have to carry them in gas stations and convenience stores more so to really catch the bad guys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It doesn't happen.
It's going to be pissing money in the wind.
No, because the vape shop's already going to know. He's like, dude, I've seen that in the vaping magazine last week. That's how that goes.
But if you look at statistics, they're not the vape shops.
Yeah, they're not going to sell. Yeah,
the vape shops are going to think they're seeing Chris Hansen from To Catch a Predator walking in the door.
Yeah, somebody.
I've watched your show, bro. I seen that show.
I seen you on YouTube.
Not going to catch me.
Not today, buddy.
Not today, Satan.
But you send them to your competitor. If you go down the street, though. Oh, yeah, it was just a funny little article I thought we should share. Mr. Nick Orlando, did you have something you wanted to talk about today? I think you had a...
No.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
What do you want to talk about?
Because he's tan and he lives in Florida, and all he has to worry about are alligators. That's it.
That's
Living his
it. I
best
got
life.
promotion today. Life is
He
good.
got a pizza party for himself.
Python season's open.
Python. Oh yeah, that's right. I heard about that. They opened that up. I think it's time.
Right?
Yeah.
Get some shoes, baby. No, what was I going to talk about? Did you
I
want to
don't know.
talk about something?
Did you had a link that you sent me? Did you want to go into that or?
Oh no, you guys covered it already. It was
Oh, did we cover it? Did we cover it?
what's her name? Yeah.
Allison
The
covers
lady in
so
the
much
FDA,
and so quickly.
the,
It's
um,
just really hard. It's really
about that
hard to-
emotional chick in the FDA there.
that Italian lady.
Yeah. About her.
Hey, hey, hey! I can see her. Hey, I'm stereotyping.
No, it was
the hell
her. I
out of
sent
it.
you a copy of her resume.
Oh,
Did you look at her resume?
Did it have spaghetti stains on it? Sorry.
if she waxed Caleb one good time with a wooden spoon, I'll be satisfied.
Yeah. Hit him
No,
with
it had tears on it, John. It wasn't
Yeah.
spaghetti. It was
Oh, it's
tears.
tears. We're so in trouble.
Why no one wants to help us.
No, well, hey, she's got the job. Hopefully, she does a great job, like we said.
She's
and-
going to do amazing.
Yeah, I think she is. Hey,
Send
hey,
those out into the universe.
if you get wind of this show, what was her name again? Christina. If you get wind of the show and you would like to jump on and share your thoughts with us, we would love to have you on the show. So I'll send her. an email.
She probably watched the first 30 minutes and she's like, I'm never going on that show.
She goes, yeah. She said there's three
She's
Italians.
probably
and-
sitting out there.
yeah, I was gonna say
She's
two,
sitting
but
out
there's
there.
three.
She wants to be on it.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
got tough
She
skin.
wants to be
right?
on this.
She's got
Yeah,
tough skin.
I think she's more than well. Bring the science. Bring the science. Well, we'll listen to you. I send them out all the time, and a lot of Jim's like the only really McDonald. He's the only article writer, blogger, whatever you want to call him, that's actually answered me back because everyone's like, I don't know, it's kind of scary. Everyone's afraid to be live, and I get it. I go, but your voice is out there. He goes, well, it's in words. I love that. It's in letters. I go, well, put your face out there. Let people see you. You know. I don't know. Just a lot of people are afraid to go live. But I love to get anytime I see an article, and I think even the Vogue one. Remember the Vogue article from years ago that was published? I tried so hard, and I thought, all right, this chick's cool. Oh, goddamn, here I go. This lady is cool. And I was like, all right, I just read this article. She seems very young. She was in her mid-20s. This chick, I'm like going right
Just
back
get out your shovel.
right back to the 70s. This chick is cool. Yeah,
She was
no.
groovy.
Yeah, she was really groovy. She was in her mid-20s, 20, 25, wrote a great article, a positive article about vaping. And I thought it would be kind of cool and never got a word. I mean, it is Vogue, but, so I don't know. It'd be nice to try to get somebody that either a blogger or some writer to actually come on and discuss their article. And that's what Jim's going to do next week. Jim and Tim will be doing the news advocacy next week together. That's going to be fun. Are you worried, Tim?
No, why should I be worried?
Okay. Yeah.
We're on the
Anything-
same team here.
Yeah. Anything else there? Timmy, you got something? Did you want to go into
Yeah,
your
well,
news?
we'll talk a little bit about Jim's. There was actually two articles that kind of addressed
Right.
the same thing regarding the CTP and how they were going to do their review of the PMTAs. They kind of like their game plan that they initially had talked about going in. And they kind of shifted the goalpost and changed their game plan like they normally do. And so it kind of came to light based on some emails
Filter
and
FOIA. FOIA request.
yeah, and some notations that were going, memos that were going around. So I thought it was kind of worthy to talk about it, just so people can kind of understand a little bit better about what we're up against and how things have changed dramatically.
Is that the warning letters can't paper over FDA terrible month? Is that the article you're talking about? that he
No,
wrote?
well, this one's from Jim. It's called CTP Science Office once expected to grant
okay.
e-liquid authorizations, and there was two particular articles done about it. A real thorough article was done through Filter, but it's a little hard to take that gentleman's particular articles and do a synopsis of them, just because they're so full of information and a little winded that you kind of just have to say you need to go read that one if you want the full details. But Jim kind of kind of brought it down into a smaller, more tighter package that I think we could kind of mush through, and kind of at least convey how things turned out. So let me share my screen.
Because I think I think it's part of that same other article too. I think
Well,
because
they are. They're
yeah,
effectively the same thing. They
yeah,
just one was worded by Jim and one was
well,
worded
yeah,
by the
Alex
other.
Dorn,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and
and
Alex was the
don't
one who did the FOIA request, so
right.
he
yeah.
Right, and don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say just because somebody has a lot to talk about that it's a bad article. I'm just saying for the sake of show and time limits, it's a lot to try to get through that other article. I mean, if you want to read it, it's on Filter. I mean, but Jim kind of brings it down and sort of sweetens it and just kind of gives us like the meaty bits, the
Yeah.
meaty bits. So it just talks more or less about the plan that the FDA had for doing the reviews of the PMTAs and what their initial plan was, because everybody knows that when the PMTA period was opened to the FDA, that they just got hammered. They got hammered with millions of applications that they somehow needed to fumble through in order to get things across the finish line. So the FDA Center for Tobacco Products, or the CTP as we know it, at one point expected to authorize bottled e-liquids from manufacturers that submitted pre-market tobacco applications, for those of you who are acronym challenged. The FDA Tobacco Center's Office of Science submitted a memo outlining a plan to speed up the review of e-liquids. And this is Alex. I'll say it in Spanish. Norcia. I'm gonna guess that's how, or Norcia. Maybe he's Italian. I don't know. How the story was laid out. So the memo was titled "Bundling and Bracketing Approach for a Review of END's Open E-Liquid PMTAs," which described a process to expedite scientific review of PMTAs for e-liquids by grouping products based on characterizing flavor. And they developed this flavor wheel that they were going to sort of like kind of put products into certain flavor profiles that would help them to kind of group certain ones together in order to keep them kind of organized. So bins, so to speak. And if you look at Alex's article, there is a picture of this so-called flavor wheel that they're talking about. I don't think Jim included it in any of his screenshots.
No.
No, he didn't. So Alex actually does show this kind of pin the tail on the donkey flavor wheel. I don't know, Wheel of Fortune flavor wheel. The FDA, some Dutch people, apparently, Dutch doctors, invented this flavor wheel. So the FDA scientific reviewers could have reviewed multiple products by a single manufacturer and then bridged their conclusions to additional products included in that company's PMTA. The plan was intended as a time saver for the FDA scientific reviewers, but it also acknowledged the agency's belief at the time that some bottled e-liquids would be authorized. But we know that as we stand right now, that never really went that direction. So the memo was signed by then Office of Science Director Matthew Holman, who recently left the FDA to work for a tobacco company, Philip Morris. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. Wolf in sheep's clothing, I think, was probably the best description. Filter obtained the memo from the FDA through a Freedom of Information Act or FOIA request. The full memo can be read in the Filter article. And this is sort of a synopsis, just a small little smidgen of it. But it's the August 19 memo shows, however, that CTP's OS envisioned a different reality in the beginning and laid out that this bundling bracket approach to one, increase the likelihood that a variety of products for which marketing is determined to be APPH will be legally marketed by the end of the compliance period. And then, it goes on to further describe how they kind of shifted things. So the planned bundling and bracketing system for the PMTA reviews was intended to make the CTP's job easier, but its author also said it would increase the likelihood that more tobacco products will be reviewed and receive marketing orders before the end of the compliance period. So that was a year from September 9th, 2020. Right. So essentially, writes Norcia, CTP seems to have imagined a couple years ago that an expedited process would efficiently produce large numbers of marketing denials and authorizations for open systems, vapes, and e-liquids. Open system vapes are devices that can be refilled. Well, we all know that. So as it turns out, the FDA still hasn't authorized a single open system product, not even tobacco flavored or unflavored products. Instead, the agency chose to implement a review system designed to reject PMTAs for all flavored products without any review, unless manufacturers submitted expensive and time-consuming studies to prove their products provided enough of a benefit to adult smokers that would overcome the risk posed to youth, which is, I think, the primary clause that they all get their MDOs based on, that they can't prove that there
The
is
fatal
any
flaw.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, without randomized controlled trials or longitudinal cohort studies, the agency assumed, based on scant evidence, that non-tobacco flavored products were not appropriate for the protection of public health and issued MDOs. Period. The
Period.
the FDA denied applications for millions of products submitted by hundreds of manufacturers and was taken to court by dozens of small companies. And then Amanda chimed in yet again. Internal FDA memo services outlining their shadowy process for review. Conveniently, this document appears to, after the appeals have been litigated, clearly the process was rigged against small businesses from the beginning. What other shady secrets will be discovered?
Hey, I got that wheel if you want me to put it up real quick.
Yeah, show the wheel.
Well, it's funny too because the original wheel was different than the one that they actually. You see, it's redacted. All of that blackout.
Yeah.
And Jim actually posted the original wheel that was used for the memo.
This is the one the Dutch people put together, right?
Right, but that's the redacted version from.
Can you go to Alex's article?
Yeah, from Alex's article. Yeah, that's the redacted one.
You're there, so it should be shown.
There
There was two pictures of it. I do recall that.
Hey, filter. Go away.
I think it was kind of near the top.
That was the one at top.
There should be two green pictures. There's
There.
one. Okay, there's that one.
And that's
was
it?
there not another one?
Alex
in there?
Norkia.
Norkia.
Yeah.
It's a gone. It's a gone. It was been redacted.
Oh wow, it is gone.
It's been
All
redacted.
right. Well, I thought when I looked at it there was two. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, he posted two on Twitter, and that second one has all the
Maybe it's
actual
in this letter here.
filled in, which is see how it's blacked out. They've like redacted a lot of the information when they
Okay,
did
yeah,
the
there.
error.
Maybe it's in
Yeah.
this here. Maybe it's in. No,
You got to go
it's
to
not.
Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotta go to
I
Twitter.
just sent it to you in the Wednesday Night Live Facebook chat.
Okay,
The actual picture of the
I'll go
first one.
find it. I go
You wanna
find
share
it.
it?
She's so emotional.
I am so emotional.
Oh, I got it. All right. Let me save it so I can make it big. Save image as. Shut up! I was waiting for one of you guys to say that's what she said, but you guys all held back. I'm very proud of this group. I'm very, very proud.
I picked on you enough tonight.
I'm very proud of you. All right, there it is. That's the unedited version. This is their first initial, whatever you want.
Right, which is strange. Why did they redact? Like, why did they do that? Why did they black out certain flavors?
So the flavors I think, was it the coffee and tea ones?
Yes, they're gone. Alcohol, I think, was gone.
Yeah.
My favorite vapes.
Strange.
They took us
Because
out.
let's be honest, kids don't drink coffee. No, not at all.
Or drink alcohol. What?
No, they don't drink alcohol. My grandson
left
doesn't have a
spices
double
and
shot of
nuts.
espresso when he's over at my house. Not at all. Not at all. My grandson doesn't ask for it. Yeah,
Never.
I'm trying to look at the original article, but yeah, it was coffee, tea, alcohol, and I can't remember. I'd have to look at it again. Timmy, you got it in front of you? Or anybody got it in front of you? What else has been? Spices? Was it spices as well?
No, spices stayed.
They stayed.
Nuts stayed.
That's right.
I think other was gone.
Now, if they would have been salty,
Or sweaty.
sweaty balls.
Nuts,
Oh.
not balls.
No, it's the SNL skit. sweaty balls.
I know, but we're talking about sweaty.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
citrus was blacked out, and so was berries.
Berries.
And then that whole segment that said fruit. So
Yeah.
fruit was blacked out, citrus and berries, and then all of the desserts, that primary category was blacked out. All of the outer rimmed flavors remained. And then they blocked out menthol and no, not the one before tobacco. They blocked out, and alcohol and coffee and tea.
Yeah.
So they blocked out subcategories, like the upper tier categories they blacked out, but then they left the actual flavors around the outside edge of the wheel. So that part doesn't make sense to me. You would think
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they would leave the header categories, but then start chipping away at some of the characterizing flavors. But I don't know, is this wheel supposed to represent their shift, right? So, I mean, they said it was effectively a shift. So rather than use the bundling method, which they were going to do by categorizing, they just started going by evidence-based, the lack of evidence-based decision-making because of the studies. So at that point, the categories didn't matter because they just abandoned that whole process.
Well, then everything should have been blacked out except for tobacco.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm just looking at, I see plum on there. I don't think I've ever had a plum vape. You guys?
Does that one say wine gum or white gum? Under candy.
Under
By
candy?
other. Candy other.
Yeah.
Scroll down. It does say wine gum.
Yeah, it does.
What the hell?
Dude,
Wine gum?
where do I get
What am I
wine gum
missing
at?
out on?
Is that a Napa
It's the,
Valley thing? Is that the Napa
It's
Valley
those
thing?
people over wherever they're from. Dutch people who put this
Oh,
together.
okay.
Dutch scientists.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they did it. Wine gum.
Huh. Interesting.
Interesting.
Well, I
Quick
find
bread
it
is
funny
on there, too.
they just cover all their bases by
Oh, look.
just using the word
Quick
other.
bread.
So it just
Mhm.
covers
Quick bread.
everything. Other. Why don't they just say everything? Just say everything. I mean, why even? What is other? Can I have that other flavor?
Is that
What's quick
unflavored?
bread?
Yeah.
Yeah,
other
there is an
unflavored.
unflavored in there. Yeah.
Did they
Oh,
leave
okay.
the slow
So we're
bread?
there.
And they
Slow
cover
bread. Only the quick bread made it through.
caramel, chocolate, honey, vanilla. Yeah, I don't know. I've
Licorice, pepper. Pepper? Come on, man. Who vapes pepper?
Oh yeah, they had to add it, or pepper
Cheese?
could go in the
There's
other
cheese on there.
category. It can go in the other
Jeez.
club.
There it is.
on
And
in
and
there?
every header section on the sub flavors, they all have an other.
Other,
Yeah. Everyone,
Every-
almost
every-
all of them have an other involved. What does that mean? Stuff that you just don't know how to categorize?
And they just didn't know how to spell it, so they just
Stuff that they
said
didn't
other.
think of, like strawberry Twinkie. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
other.
yeah. The combination. Well, this I think. Well, it says e-liquid flavored wheel, but I'm sure their push is also cigars. So this is a kind of a way. Maybe these are flavors that you see in some cigars, flavored cigars. Maybe so they're just covering their bases. Maybe I don't
Maybe
know.
there's a wine gum cigar somewhere. I don't know.
Oh, don't they have those the wine black and milds?
Yeah,
I think there's
They
like a
cut-
wine
I
flavor
don't
on
know.
that.
they covered all the alcohol drinks for sure: bourbon, champagne,
Sure.
daiquiri, mojito, pina colada, rum, scotch, straight vodka,
Other.
vape. Ooh.
Ugh.
Well,
Other.
I'm sure there's probably some complex flavors that they have to consider because
Yeah.
how do you categorize something? Say, you know, I mean, this probably isn't a good parallel, but like Jam Monster or something, where they got a little bit of butter in there, they got toast
Yeah.
in there, they got and a flavor, a fruit flavor of some kind, typically. So those it's hard to categorize those because I think you have to look at the preponderance of the mix. If strawberry is the dominating flavor in there, then they probably put it under strawberry. But
Yeah.
if you
Who
have
the
other
hell
ones,
came up with a friggin' wheel? Come on.
I don't know, but why isn't tomato on there in the fruit category?
well, to
It's
go
under
on
other.
to go on with some of the article, it just said the memo laid out a plan for CTP scientific reviewers from the Division of Product Science and Division of Non-Clinical Science to randomly choose products with up to 24 characterizing flavors from a single company's PMTA, and then to bridge the reviewer's conclusions to other products included in the same application. The memo writer said that there would be no limit to the maximum number of tobacco products per PMTA for which the conclusions can be bridged. So I think the idea behind that was to say, well, if we look at your flavor, we look at your blends or your mix or how you put them together, that it won't matter which one we start with, that we don't need to scrutinize the rest so cleverly and closely by based on this bundling methodology, because the scientific test results will be the same for every subsequent flavor in your line. So there's no point in us wasting any more time testing the other 35 blends because you use the same method other than just changing the flavor. So if we can MDO that one, we can just MDO the lot, and then you can just wipe them off the plate a lot quicker, rather than
I think
taking
that
your...
the point was to approve them in the beginning, which was that's what's mind blowing. How did we go from bundling and bracketing to bringing everybody together to get more open systems through, because they acknowledge that the youth does not use them in that original memo, but then to a fatal flaw. Like, how does that happen?
Probably because they realized their backs were against the wall. And they had judges all over them, expecting them to meet this 1-year deadline to get everything through that particular process. And maybe at the time they thought that the bundling idea was a good one to speed things up, but then realized that it was daunting, because they were effectively saying, okay, well, each indicative identifying flavor has to have its own unique PMTA. And they're like, there's no way we're going to be able to get through all of those that quickly. So let's just say, well, if it's vape company A and they got 2,000 different flavors to offer, their methodology is going to be the same for each one in the line. So if we can figure out a fatal flaw in one of them, it means it applies across the board. And that's why they just got swept right off the table that friggin' quick. So I mean,
the fatal flaw ended up being flavors anyway. So
of course, I mean, they were gunning for those at the beginning. So manufacturers, of course, weren't allowed to make assumptions about any of their own products based on information about other similar submitted products. That would have been a time and effort saving shortcut only granted to hardworking CTP reviewers. But the very existence of the bundling and bracketing memo shows the FDA recognized the foolishness of its demand, and that each very similar product be subjected to identical tests that would in all likelihood show that the exact same results across a given company's product line. So deny or approve, right?
Yeah.
So they just made it a little bit easier for them to just turn the blind eye and just walk away. I mean, it's interesting, that you get some insight as to how the goalposts moved, and that
how much more are we going to see it's moved to?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, right. Well, now that
it might not even be in the stadium anymore. The goalpost. That's where it's getting.
It's not because there's a lot more FOIA requests and a lot more information coming. So God only knows what we're going to find out.
Yeah, I just can't imagine their job. I wouldn't want to do. I mean, everybody's banana custard is a little bit different than everybody else's. It's just, I can't imagine having to go through that whole process of just trying. Okay,
they know PG, they know BG. We all basically use the same flavor.
Right. But this chemist, you want to call him a chemist, uses 0.05% of this banana, and I just couldn't imagine having to go through that whole process of just trying to do those PMTAs, go through them, all that craziness, and pretty much it's going to come down to what flavor it is and why we don't want it, and just denial. It's banana, boom, out of here. It's custard, boom, out. Oh, tobacco? Okay. But hey, let's not, we will say it. We say it on the show all the time. Is tobacco a flavor?
Yes.
Well, they start diving into tobacco. There's a million of those out too.
Yeah. And who's going to stop the chemist or the, what is the term that the person that messes with plants? What is there's a name for these people.
Botanist?
And a botanist. What's going to stop that guy from creating a tobacco plant that already has a vanilla flavor in it?
They'll find a way to ban it.
They will. They'll be like, get that guy out of here.
I mean, there's no tobacco flavor in a tobacco. Anyways, like nuts and vanilla and whatever else to get it closest to taste. There's no tobacco in it. So
yeah, I'm just saying, eventually they can make tomato taste like an orange. If they really wanted to, they could. I mean, that's how it's gotten when it comes.
We'll
to
be vaping soybeans before it's all over.
We will be vaping. Everything will be plant based.
just vaping eggplant.
See, but that's the whole thing, though. I mean, flavors aside, I mean, they seem to be drilling down beyond the flavors now to the point that it's about the nicotine.
Yeah.
That's the thing that they see as the most damning in it all. Is the nicotine component of it. But it's you have to laugh because we're not even vaping the stuff that's even remotely close to what you could say is at levels that are extremely addicting.
Yeah.
Of what they've already approved. The only things they've approved are high nicotine. So
Well, you think, because like you bring something up that I think other people out there that are outside of our circle are starting to realize is, the flavor thing. And they couldn't live off of that fight. They just couldn't. The FDA couldn't use that fight anymore. They had to go into other things and other, nicotine addiction for teenagers. This is what it's doing to their brain. They realized they had to get out of that thing because eventually the people outside of this community are beginning to be thinking the same way we all did. It's like, wait a minute, am I not going to be able to get that Frappuccino, Mocha, Cappuccino, whatever fucking drink from Starbucks because you're going to think it's no good? Am I not going to be able to eat a chocolate pie anymore because some kids are getting diabetes? That's where that argument is going. And when people that are outside of the community, I start talking about flavors to them, they kind of give me that look like, are you serious? Well, how about, and what do they always say? The first thing that comes up, well, how about flavored alcohol? I go, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's socially accepted. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay for
that brings in a lot of money to the state.
Yeah. I mean, that kid has to have that cotton candy vodka. He just has to have that. We can't take that away,
Yep.
The other day, walking through it's summertime. What do we see a lot of? Ice cream. I was blown away. There's no locks on the doors. There's nothing. There's a whole section of ice creams that are all just infused with alcohol. There's nobody stopping these kids from going in there. And I mean, I don't know how much the percentage is in there. I mean, it might not be a lot, but
some of them are kind of high. Yeah.
Some of those icy ones are like, okay, I can see the guy at Walmart not paying attention and saying, oh yeah, oh those look delicious. I bet you'll have a good time today in the heat with these. And your kid's like, yeah, I'm gonna have a great time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I don't know. But some of the whataboutism that we use in our arguments, they all sound extremely valid. I mean, you can look at statistics about alcohol and kids and binge drinking and all that other stuff. But I just think that vaping is the one thing that kind of exists right now that poses the biggest existential threat to the profit lines and the funding and the money that these people rake in to keep that fight going, right? Because alcohol in the end is regulated for the most part, right? I mean, there's channels to sell it. I mean, it's taxable. I mean, it's all it's all controlled. So in theory, it's like we're willing to take the risk with the kids getting their hands on the alcoholic ice cream, but the other thing is getting ready to destroy a billions of dollars industry and help a lot of people stay out of that hospital. So I mean, ultimately, it's a much larger existential threat to a lot of people's existence than say alcohol. Alcohol, you can just
the
brush
financial
it on.
footprint of the vapor industry is huge.
Right.
I mean, when you talk about the benefits and what it would take away if we did succeed in the U.S. Now, in the U.K., it's doing very well, but we're in the U.S. It would touch a lot of. I mean, the footprint's huge. It's got long arms, and it would affect a lot of people, a lot of businesses negatively that have been in existence for a very long time.
Right. Well, I'm not going to shit you. I've had 3 people say this to me after I brought up, Master Settlement Agreement and all the nonsense. You know what 3 people said this to me. Well, that's okay, because otherwise they're going to come after me for that extra money. And that's their philosophy, because it's like if California doesn't have that $7 billion that they're getting from the master settlement agreement, they got to get it somewhere else. That money's been budgeted for something, so they're just going to tax us. And I'm just looking at them, thinking to myself, maybe they don't have anyone in their family. I find it hard to believe that doesn't smoke. Somebody always has somebody in their family that smokes or has cancer, and to hear someone respond with that, well, they'll just they'll just raise our property taxes, or they'll find a way to get that $9 billion back. And most of these states, like, who are the big ones, Nick? It's
But the
California.
states that banned it, though, they actually borrowed more.
Yeah,
Like they borrowed against these
against
MSA
it.
payments. They actually would have to pay the money back and fall into debt.
Yeah,
So they need the money to come in just to repay what they've gotten.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got state like
Well,
California,
you got
which, yeah, go ahead, Nick.
5 states took the tobacco agreement, so
Yeah.
that leaves everybody else that's benefiting greatly as far as states. Florida, they did the agreement and they're getting 20.22 cents a cigarette. So
Yeah.
you can imagine what the numbers are in the master settlement agreement. I mean, they're much, much higher. California was almost bankrupt before this came in, right? All of a sudden, MSA steps in and boom, saves their ass. All the bonds and all that stuff. I mean, so they stand to lose a lot.
Well,
So
yeah,
when you're
and
talking about it, I mean,
don't forget
a big one. That was the most
additional
effective.
tax. Don't forget the additional state tax that they're getting on top of that. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
I mean, that economy in California is probably the biggest economy that depends on that MSA.
Yeah. Well, we had him 2 years ago get in front of everybody, talk about getting the $7 billion from the master settlement agreement, and then 2 days later coming back and saying they're $9 billion in debt. And I'm thinking to myself, you just told everybody we got $7 billion, and now you're telling me we're $9 billion in debt. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Well, never mind. I brought up California, but yeah, no, I mean, I'm serious. I've had 3 people say that to me. Well, they'll just find another way to get that money, and they're just going to come up after us. So, continue smoking, continue buying your cigarettes, and if it means getting rid of vaping, then get rid of vaping to continue to
feed the monster.
Yeah, feed the monster.
Feed the monster.
I don't want to pay for that. It's pretty sad. Those are the same people that bitch that they don't have any kids and they shouldn't be paying property taxes to schools. So it's the same people. It's the same people. Well, I don't have any kids. All my kids are gone. Why should I be paying property taxes for schools? My kids don't go to school. Yeah, it's the same people. It's kind of sad. Hey, watch it. Yeah, they did. They borrowed a lot. They borrowed a lot against it.
That's how
And
they
how
kind
much
of
of
do
it
it.
did they actually use for what they're supposed to do with that money?
Hey, man, we have some of the best potholes in the country. We have some of the best potholes. We have unlimited amounts of highway construction going on for the last 8 years that have never gotten done. We have the same.
Well, right now they're using it. Aren't they giving away syringes and stuff and crack
Yeah, they're
pipes?
giving away that. You got.
So they cost money. I mean,
it costs money.
Just give that away. Who's paying for that?
Yeah, the $32.50 an hour that guy gets paid to hold that stop sign, that is worth every penny. That's how it works.
Keeps everybody safe.
Yeah, it keeps everybody safe, and no one pays attention to him anyway, and no one's doing 50. Yeah, you cannot. I'm not kidding. I live in the Central Valley. You cannot go anywhere right now and not see road construction. There's literally road construction from my house all the way to San Francisco, and it's just nonstop. It's constant. I don't know what they're fixing. And they
potholes.
It's insane. And
they're
now
fixing the potholes.
They're adding a new material that's going to make the potholes last 2 weeks. But no, what they're doing now is they're adding these new lanes, and I think this is happening all over the country right now. I think it's these new express lanes where you pay to be in. Have you seen?
Oh
these?
yeah,
and it costs you like $1.25. Yeah, and you can go as fast as hell. Well, I don't know if you can get a ticket in there, but you're moving along.
You just don't have to sit in traffic.
You can pay your $1.25. It comes right out of your checking account, and you can just scoot on by everybody. Just fly on by. That's the new thing here. So we got a stretch of 580 that literally has 9 lanes on it. 9 friggin' lanes, and 2 of those lanes are dedicated just for those people. that want to pay that extra money to go flying by everybody else just to get to the end and then get stuck in traffic more. I guess I don't know. It's ridiculous. Timmy, you got anything else news wise?
No, that was it. In particular, I mean, I think that's a lot to swallow, and I think it's also, a reality check in terms of how we have to understand how the whole process is going. And why it might seem daunting that we're not really seeming to get a fair shake. You just hope that ultimately there's some litigation and lawyers out there who can put up some resistance to try to slow the entire process down, and then hope that measured Italian women can maybe speak
Easy,
some sense
easy. Hey, have a
into
fun
the FDA.
huh? And the tunnels will not work, but because they will just move the homeless there. That's where they would put them. That's where they put them. Hey, they're just
Jeez.
Well, I had a conversation today with
Is this
somebody.
totally political? Because that'd be great.
No, it's
Oh,
well, no. I
damn it.
mean, I mean, it's political in general terms,
Okay.
but it's not specifically political because we were talking about the whole conceptual idea about how whoa, good lord, did everybody hear that? My
Wow,
house basically
you
just
better
almost
move away from the
felt like I
window,
took it.
bud.
If I go offline, uh, I swear the poltergeist tree is right outside my window.
Not that I
So.
want to see you get struck by lightning, but it'd be very cool to see it
Well, my
live on
dogs
the
might become a
show.
little distracting. Well, no, we were talking about the whole conceptual idea about the idea of making things inaccessible and banning them and opening up the idea that people would have to turn to other markets to obtain things that they otherwise would have effectively been legal to go ahead and obtain. So, and vaping came into the conversation, and we were generally touching on the idea about how it's kind of dangerous out there nowadays because you can't really trust a lot of the things that you're getting your hands on anyway. And actually, the conversation started about marijuana and stuff, and we were talking about the idea about how it's scary. Like kids are going away to college and they're joining these fraternities and stuff, and they're going away for this big experience of their life, and then you turn around and then you see in the news where some kid was at a frat party and they were just going to mess around and do a little weed or do a little coke, and now their kid's dead because everything's laced with fentanyl. It's just
Yeah.
dangerous to know that that's what's going on. And I brought up and I said, look, not to bring advocacy into the conversation here or my own advocacy into the conversation.
Go.
I said, but it's so shocking to me to try to understand and wrap your head around why agencies within our own government work so hard to try to take something away that is in essence safe. And I talked to her at length about the whole Evali thing that happened a couple years ago, and I said, don't you remember when you watched the news and you heard about all these people that were dying because they were vaping and all this other stuff? And I explained what really was going down. It was these cartomizers for THC oils, and they were cut and all that. And I said, and unfortunately that whole message got skewed, and it made everybody else who was quote unquote vaping look kind of bad or feel or perceived as though they were doing something extremely dangerous. And I explained that vaping's been around for over a decade, and had that actually been the case and vapors were really in that much jeopardy from such a dangerous thing that I said that you would have seen people dropping in the tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of
Easily.
numbers if that really was the case. And I said, but the underlying thing that I find most egregious and scary is that that I think politicians are tone deaf because they don't tend to take a look at the entire landscape of where things are out in the world, right? So they're going to go ahead and they're going to attack vaping, and they're going to go ahead and opine to take away this one thing that adults are using. It's going to smash again. It's going to
Did you
take
count it
away.
off? Did you count it off?
No, I don't want to do that because the tree is going to come right through the fucking window, and I don't want to die tonight. So I don't want to get sucked into any TVs either. So, but I said they're so dangerous in this process. I'm like, because this isn't 30 years ago when, everybody sat around, smoking a little weed on the couch and getting high and eating a bunch of Doritos and laughing and having a good time. I mean, like, times have changed. So I said they're going to take away this one thing that, otherwise was legally obtainable. And I said now they're going to basically turn a bunch of people who are law-abiding citizens into criminals, and you're going to drive them to a black market that's even 10 times more dangerous than it ever was. And I said, and that's what's going to happen. I said, maybe not for somebody like myself, because I've got channels,
Yeah.
I've got a network, I have places to turn where I know I can trust what's coming into my hands. I said, but you're going to subject all these people who finally found to them, a way out. And then you're going to turn them to the black market, and then they're going to go be the ones that are buying from the bathtub e-liquid maker guy or the dude selling out of his trunk. And I said, and you're going to see all over the news about people getting their hands on some pretty nasty shit and maybe not existing with us anymore. They're going to be gone because people were like, some drug dealer's going to be like, fuck, I'll put some fentanyl in there, and then people, and there's going to be some blood on people's hands. I'm like, why? How can you be so numb to the idea that you're so on the attack to take something away when you're just making it more dangerous than you could ever imagine it to be? And that part of that whole thing right there just pisses me the hell off. And we took, and I translated it into the primary subject that we were talking about. I talked to her about the menthol cigarette ban that they're talking about trying to levy. And I asked her point blank. I said, who do you think smokes the majority of menthol cigarettes out there? People who smoke, who do you think does? And I said, and I said, no, I said it's people from usually lower socioeconomic communities, people of color and stuff like that who are smoking these because that's popular in their sector. And they think that by taking it away, they're going to help a bunch of people. I said, well, fucking surprise, it's going to be Eric Garner all over again, and you're going to have these people, street value will go up. I said, I just don't understand how they can take that route or that path. I mean, they don't try to look at any other way out of this if it really is such an issue.
But you think that's their way of just getting it out of their way is just by going
sweep it under the rug,
sweep it under the rug, and let it go to the black
know?
market and then let local law enforcement deal with it, and then this takes the FDA, every congressman, and all these other people out of the picture, and here you go. This is a local issue now. You're going to see it on your 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock news. It's not our problem anymore. I mean, that's how I look at it. And to them, that's their way of just saying, hey, it's not our issue anymore.
But if that
took care of it, we got rid of it for you. But now,
okay, fine. So I mean, you have the people who think like them, or maybe don't think like them, but think a certain way. And the only way to garner a vote or a way to stay in power is to do something that maybe is easier to do by taking the hard stance and trying to get rid of it altogether than trying to find a way to find some balance in it all. Like, can we work it out where we can keep it away from the kids, but we can still offer it to the adults? Because I don't want my constituents who may not be on my side to then maybe consider me as a vote, but I'm giving them a safer pathway to get to that because I care about them as human beings. But really, when they're saying sort of like without saying it is like, I really don't give a shit. I'm going to go get these hard votes, and I'm just going to throw the middle finger up to the people, who are, who need it the most, and I'm going to send them somewhere that's 10 times more dangerous. So it makes you really think about politicians and how you want to pass your vote. Does it make you a single issue voter? I don't think so in general, but it just makes me think more about who these people are as people. And they play this big game like they give a shit when they really don't give a shit because they're willing to risk putting people out exposed to the world to people who really don't give a shit about them, that are looking to try to make a fast buck. And they're going to watch people who they could have otherwise had in their corner and supported them dead. Okay, but I guess that's how politicians work. They can still get votes if you're dead, right? I guess that's kind of how it works. It just blows my mind. I'm sorry, it just blows my mind, and I'm not turning anarchist or anything like that. I'm just saying it blows my mind that you can watch people think that they're taking the proper route to curing something when they're actually, in essence, making it worse. And it's almost like they just don't fucking see that at all. And I
Tim,
don't
they
get
did
it.
that with cigarettes when they put that new wrapper on there that went out when you quit puffing on it. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna make this a safer cigarette.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and then the lower nicotine cigarettes. Oh, that's going to save them too.
So you smoke more.
All right. So we're going to be watching a bunch of dudes walking around the street dipping their fucking cigarettes in fucking straight vials of fucking 100 milligram fucking nicotine to bump it back up. I mean,
no, they'll just continue buying cigarettes at $22, $25 a pack. So the state gets more money, the local government gets more money from taxes. So they just keep feeding that fire. There's no.
Yeah, and to substantiate the point, and I'll finish on this and just say is that even if you're not in the corner for vaping, even if it's because you're concerned that your kid or Mary's kid down the street might somehow get their hands on a vape and might somehow get addicted to nicotine. If you're that naive that's your sole focus or your sole concern, and in today's world we're supposed to be concerned about everybody. If you don't see that side of it as someone who feels like they have a valid argument to protect the kids, you have to look at the bigger picture. You see that happening right in front of you. You might laugh it off like it doesn't fucking matter. Vaping, it's so fucking stupid anyway. But people never look at the other core part of that issue, and that is that no vape are intended for kids to do it. Nope. The point is that we want to be around for everybody else.
Was there some shady marketing? Yeah, there was some shady marketing there in the beginning.
It just pisses me off that people are tone deaf. Oh, fine, okay, good. As long as I can keep my kid away from it, that's all I really give a shit about. I don't care about you either.
Yeah,
but whatever.
It just makes me laugh because for me, it's just like, did you forget being a teenager? Did every parent that is out there fighting to get rid of vaping not realize the things that they did? I mean, some of us probably were angels. I don't know about Nick, and Tim, I think Tim was a bad boy too. And Allison, I got this feeling that you gave your mom quite a bit of headaches. But yeah, I mean, we've all done it. We've all done things, and we've always, shit. How many of it? I better stop because I'm going to say something.
Well, no, I think you're making a valid
ask the homeless guy to buy you a pack of cigarettes when you were 16 years old, or a 6-pack, and do the homeless guy a little bit of a favor by buying him a sandwich. And he we all done all these things, and I just find it funny that this new generation, and unfortunately, this is the generation that we raised. It just assumes that the government is just going to fix all their problems. They're just going to make sure their kids go to school. They're going to make sure their kids show up for their booster shots and all this other nonsense. But it to me is just like you were a kid. You know what you did. You know the headaches that you put your parents through. It's never going to change. And then I would, honest to God, I'm going to say this: if I had to choose between my son getting a quality product or getting something off the street, I'm going to go with the quality product over him bumping into some guy on friggin' South 9th Street asking for.
And that's my point, though. Yeah. If your kid is going to fucking experiment and go somewhere, at least let him get his hands on something that came through a natural channel where, you can say it was safe. It wasn't some dangerous thing that somebody mixed together in their fucking back room of their house to make a quick buck. Yep. I'd rather my kid get busted with a safe product than get busted with something that I might be looking at his body in a morgue tomorrow. Yeah.
Well,
it's spooky as shit, and these politicians are just numb to that whole conceptual idea.
And Nick and Allison know that you got that little barcode right there. If your son were to buy something and there was an issue with their product and they had that product, they would simply have to scan that barcode. They know who made it, where it came from. You're not getting a fucking barcode from a guy off the street. He's not giving you a barcode.
Right. Kids want to try adult shit. We always have.
Yeah, they're going to find a way.
They're going to experiment.
Yeah, they're going to experiment.
It's like, back to the parenting thing. I mean, your kids are going to try stuff. Yeah. My kids, always thought they were sneaking around and getting out and sneaking out of the window and trying different things. It took them till 30 years old to realize, no, I just allowed it to happen. I was watching your ass, but I saw it. Yeah. But what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But even
Make you
even in
resist.
that,
I mean, let's be
yeah.
real. Like,
Yeah.
my daughter was 16 when I caught her with a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Before vaping had
Yeah.
changed the age to 18. We did that with Florida here. I don't know how the
Yeah.
other states worked, but she was 16 and she got vaped. I got her off cigarettes. I said, here, if you're going to be stupid
Yeah.
and try nicotine, here,
Yeah.
you're going to do it less harmful. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
she's today working in the pharmacy industry and she's vaping. But,
Well,
if I wouldn't have done that, she might have been, doing cigarettes.
Should have
I
been
could give
career
two shits
smoker.
if somebody
Yeah.
tells me.
Yeah.
Oh, and she's gone up to the state and testified before for us. But the reality is that she would have been smoking cigarettes, just like I was at 12, stealing cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to be a realist, right? And John, to your point, parents have lost that. And
Yeah.
is there only just a few of us that really understand this? They're going to try alcohol. They're going to try other things. They're going to try cigarettes. They're going to try vapor, cigars, pipes, whatever. Because, their peers are very influential, parties and whatnot.
Gotta look cool. Gotta be cool.
Yeah, but I mean, I would think that the parents at today's age are a little bit wiser for the wear. I mean, I can maybe look back at my parents and think, I mean, half the shit that kids are exposed to nowadays, especially in a digital world, weren't even, we weren't not exposed to that same kind of, I mean, there may have been, some underground drug channels, but my point is that I think our parents' anxiety over us and them not wanting us to do this, that, smoke or drink or try these things, I think they were faced with what society had had available to kids at that time. Now we've advanced and come a much longer way, and now we didn't have edibles back then. We didn't have the freedom of marijuana. We didn't have vaping. We didn't have all these things, and now it's like parents, I think, are a little bit wiser, and they're like, look, I'm probably not going to be able to control this son of a bitch every minute of every day, but if I do catch him with something, then I can step in and be a parent and be like, hey, look, I know where you're coming from. I did the same fucking stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to tell you that, that's not a wise choice. You need to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah.
I don't know. You had the parents like that when you were growing up. You had friends with parents like that, or you had parents like that. But not all parents are the same. They'll ground you for a week. They'll take away your car, whatever the case may be. But
that shit don't work.
No, it doesn't. But they still try it, right? I mean,
hey, when you
get the ones that'll sit down and talk to you. But I think it's less common now that you have the parent that sits down and has those hard conversations. They're all buddy.
They just get on Twitter. About it.
It's sad because, like, okay, what Tim is bringing up, I get that. It was a little different back then than it is today. But with today's technology, it's an advantage for the parent as well as the child. I mean, now that God forbid, if my mom had access to my videos and my TikTok and my Facebook and be able to call a cell phone company and know exactly the fucking spot I was standing in. I
can just open an app and see where my son is.
Exactly.
I can find his location at any time.
So that theory, they didn't, they have it harder than our parents did back then. Bullshit. I don't think so, because with technology that they have available, they know what their kids are doing. They got fucking cameras in schools where they could see their kids sitting in class. My parents didn't have any of that shit. And look, I'll be honest. I really, really had to think hard. Did I want to fuck up? Because I knew the consequences, and I got it from both sides. My dad was a very quiet man, but he also played soccer and he knew how to use his fucking feet. And he would give me a swift kick, and my mom would finish me off with either an electric cord, a broom, whatever was available. She made sure. But
anything they can grab.
Anything she could grab. And these parents are saying, oh, we're so overwhelmed. We don't know what our kids are doing. And, and they make fun of the kids of the 80s. They call us the latchkey kids. And okay, I was a little bit different than my next door neighbor. My next door, I came home. My mom didn't work. She was a housewife. But my next door neighbor, he lived with his mom. She was single, no husband. And, she was never home. She was always working. He did. He was that kid that came home, made his fucking dinner, packed his lunch, took care of his own laundry, did all that stuff, where I would come home and just, throw it in the corner. My mom would pick it up and go do laundry. until I was like 16, and then it ended. That was
I had kind of the same. My parents were both cops, so
yeah,
my brothers and sisters. So
yeah.
I had eyes all over me, but I still got it done.
Yeah, we got it done. And I mean, it's just these kids, the parents are just saying all this stuff. I mean, half these fucking new kids out here, kids out here, they're carrying electronic friggin' credit cards that their parents are filling with cash. So they know these kids' spending habits. They know it right. I blew me away. Even my grandson Aiden has one that Hope puts money in for him. This way he's not constantly asking, hey, buy me some Google Bucks and all this other stuff. But at least she can kind of see what he's spending. So again, if your kid has this card, you see $150 cash withdrawal every Friday for something, and he's not coming home with anything. Hey, what you buy with $100? It's simple. You're not invading, and you're not invading his privacy. That's your kid.
And that's my money. I just gave it to you. You didn't earn it.
Yeah. You're gonna tell me what you just spent $100 on, man, because I need to.
I get alerts whenever my son buys something. I'm like, oh,
right,
spending more money on video games again.
So the technology is all there for them to use. So when I hearing the parents say, "Oh, we're so overwhelmed. We're both working. They're doing this." Hey, man, my mom had no clue. Let's be honest. Kids in the '80s, we took off. I mean, I rode my bike 10 miles away from my house and got back about 9-10 o'clock at night.
I think to Tim's point is they're saying they're overworked because there's so many distractions in their own personal life to be a parent.
Get off of fucking
a lot of single
Facebook.
Parents. It's a matter of priorities, right? And that's where Tim is. He's saying the priority is not on their children; it's on everything else.
Yeah.
He's not saying that's a valid excuse.
Hey, my dad was just as dedicated than any other person to make sure that his family had food on the table and paid the rent and paid bills, made sure we had clothes. That's never going to change. It doesn't change whether it's a dad from the 50s or a dad from 2020. His goal is still the same. That's to provide for his family. So, that's never going to change. But
it's not everybody's goal.
Well, it should be, goddamn. It should be.
It should be.
But that's a whole other issue altogether, Nick. That's a whole other issue. But yeah, I mean, just pay attention. I mean, it's pretty simple. Pay attention to what your kids are doing, and you have all the fucking tools, like we said. I mean, every kid has a cell phone. And I think now they're letting the kids bring them into school, right? I think they've just given up. They've given up. They're just like, fuck it. Just make sure we don't see it during classroom time.
Or hear it.
Or hear it. Yeah. All right, guys, we're 7 minutes over, and that cost me money. I'm joking. Well, let's all
anti-poltergeist dog.
Yeah. Send that dog over to Christina. What was her last name again?
Delnevo.
That whatever. Send that dog over there. We wish her luck. You are welcome on the show. I'm sure you're going to hear about this show somewhere, and you're going to wonder who that Sicilian guy in the top left-hand side is, and his comments toward you. I hope you come join us. It'd be fun to have someone. I would love. I joked about it. And I think it would be a great show, but I don't know if it would be a great show. So I'm going to ask these two people down here that haven't heard about this type of show that I want to do. I think Tim has heard it, but I would like to get some nayers to come on the show and sell their point and go up against us.
Good luck getting them to actually have a conversation with us, though.
Well, there would be some guidelines. There would be some guidelines, but I would love to do a show like that where hey, give me your three best, and I'll give you our three best, and let's sit down and let's go through your points and we'll go through our points and we'll see if we can either change either side. If you can,
but every time I even try to get into a nice, friendly debate, I get blocked immediately. They don't have anything to back up their claims. So
I could see a lot of black screens. Just go off.
Technical difficulties.
Sean, you would need to create a new platform for that. Because if you did it on Wednesday Night Live, they wouldn't join because they'd look at past history. I'm serious. They feel like they're getting into in a
Yeah.
room full of vapors. So you'd have to create
Well, no,
something
that's what I
like
want, though. I want
John's
them
point of
to.
view, or
Yeah, no.
they're not
I
going to
would
come on
leave
this
it. I would
show.
leave it. I would leave it open. I would welcome anyone to come on
If you
and
want the Cave Moms, just do Thirsty Thursday.
if there's and there's wine involved, show up
There you
on
go.
Wednesday. Show up on Thursday. Well, I will send a bottle of wine to your house. No, I
They
think
like
it
the
would be
king.
I think it would be a fun
It would be
show. I don't.
awesome.
Yeah, it would be a great show to
It would
just
be great if we could get that to happen.
yeah, and just go at it for two. I don't know. I don't know if it would last 2 hours, but it would be very fun to do. Anything else anybody want to throw out there before we jump off? Nick, Allie, Tim, not a thing. All right, guys, we are out of here. Let me find the right button to hit, and we'll see everybody next week. Tim will be back. Paul will be back. Hopefully, Allie's going to be back, and we will have Jim McDonald will be joining us next week on the show, and it will be fun to have. Our news guy do a news article with Jim. It'd be kind of fun. I think it'd be fun. All right, guys, we'll see everybody next week. Peace out. Let me hit the right button. There it is.